Hi, hello and welcome back to Formula 1 Randomized, the series where I race random Formula 1 cars from random Formula 1 seasons on random racetracks, be they Formula 1 or otherwise, with a few fictional circuits thrown in there for good measure. Last week we raced the 2017 cars at the 1950 Silverstone, and unfortunately due to some technical issues the race was pretty bad. Anyway, this week's suggestion comes from a user by the name of, and I hope I pronounced this correctly, Pontigunner Racing, and they requested I race the 1970 Lotus around the 2001 Hockenheim, and I swear I haven't planned for this. I just randomly clicked on a screenshot and it just so happened to be that it was this one. With that said, let's jump in and see how horribly I can mess this one up. And here we are on the grid for this little German Grand Prix. We're starting from 6th, as always with random grids here, and this should be quite fun given that these cars actually raced on this circuit back in 1970, although obviously it was quite different. That was a pretty decent start on my end. We managed to gain a couple of positions. However, as we come into North Curve there, I lose those positions as Jackie Stewart went very wide, and I managed to overtake him thanks to that. So we are now in P5 chasing after Jack Brabham, who is right in front of us. Hopefully we'll be able to catch him. But yeah, these cars actually race on the circuit, and it wasn't that much different back then, only slight differences, and maybe the track surface itself was probably a bit more bumpy back then because, well, they probably didn't have the technology that we had in 2001 to make the track as smooth as possible, probably, I don't know. Anyway, we are trying to catch up to Jack Brabham, and Jackie Stewart is really on our tail trying to regain that lost position. And the only big difference on the track back in 1970 would be Ostcurve, the corner we're coming through here. Back in 1970 the chicane didn't exist, it was just a high-speed right-hander. Anyway, we are now racing towards the third chicane here, and Jackie Stewart is going for an overtake, and he does it on the inside, so we drop down to P6. Not very good, but you know, it could be worse, obviously. And now Jean-Pierre Beltois is trying to get around us. Hopefully we'll be able to keep him behind us, although it doesn't seem so. He's catching up on us. We're coming into this right-hander. Make contact with Jean-Pierre Beltois. There I nearly lose control, but I managed to kind of still keep the car on the track, so we are quite fine. And then Pedro Rodriguez also manages to overtake us whilst I was trying to regain control of the car, so we now drop down to P9, which isn't all that good, but hey, hopefully we won't fall any lower. That would be quite embarrassing. For some reason I can't seem to catch up to anyone, as Emerson Fittipaldi retires from the race, and then there goes Henri Pescarolo, who overtakes us on the inside. However, he goes wide and I try to catch up to him, can't quite do it. I move behind him for the slipstream, and for some reason the slipstream isn't quite working. What is this magic? How is this happening? He's pulling away, but I cannot keep in his slipstream for whatever reason. So that's quite interesting. I managed to catch up a little bit coming into the chicane. However, he's out, and Denny Holm is also out. He manages to pull away and Denny Holm is out, which means we move back up into P8, which is kind of good, but you know, we started from P6. That would be nice if we could go back into P6 somehow. However, it seems quite unlikely because, again, I can't seem to be able to keep up to the top 6 or the top 8, 7 even. I know how to count. So anyway, Henri Pescarolo is now pulling away quite rapidly, and Chris Amon is charging towards us. He's about 0.5 seconds behind us, which is very close as we come into this chicane once again. And there's a car at the side of the track. I'm not quite sure who it was, but we don't gain any positions from that, so it doesn't really matter who it was then. He's probably someone from the back. And now Chris Amon is right on our gearbox. I can see him in my mirrors. He's trying to get around us. We will try not to let him pass as we come through into the stadium once again. And into this left-hander, the suck curve. So we're doing quite well, I guess. Well, all things considered, and I nearly lose the car there. However, I managed to keep it under control, and we are still in the race. Chris Amon really trying to get around us. He's really on my tail. Hopefully you will be able to keep him behind. That would be quite nice as we come around to start our final lap. And behind Chris Amon I can see a couple of more cars. I'm not quite sure who they are, but hopefully they will not be able to catch us. It would be quite embarrassing if we lose any more positions, obviously. So let's try to do our best. And it looks like Jackie Stewart is having a problem since we are catching up to him very quickly. Brake for the chicane, slow the car down, ease it into the corner, and we move up into 7th somehow. And now we're approaching Jack Brabham, and he's out of the race, so we move up into P6 thanks to some retirement. So that's good, I guess. Well, good for us. Obviously it's not all that good for the people who retired, as we now come into the Stoot curve. Ease the car into the corner. Have to be very patient with the car coming through these chicanes, especially the Stoot curve. It's kind of tighter than all of the rest. I go a little bit wide. I had to lift off the throttle a little bit, which allowed Graham Hill to catch up to us, which isn't all that good. But hopefully we'll be able to keep him behind. I know I keep repeating that, but I really want to try and keep him behind. He's looking for an opportunity to overtake us. I can see him in our mirrors, so that's not very good. There's only a very small gap, and Jackie X crosses the line to win the race as we come into the stadium section for one last time through this right-hander. Can we keep Graham Hill behind us? That would be very nice. Just 0.2 of a second, 1/10 of a second to Graham Hill. Pedro Rodriguez crosses the line to finish his race. But this is very tight. Graham Hill is right behind us. He's trying to look for a way to get around us. I'm trying to keep the car on the track, trying to ease the car through the corners, and it looks like we might just be able. Yes, there we go. That's P6. Pretty good race, I would say. It was kind of hairy towards the end. Nearly, I could have lost it there, but somehow I managed to hold on to the position, even though Graham Hill was breathing heavily down my neck. But yeah, that was the 1970 cars around the 2001 Hockenheim ring circuit. It was quite a lot of fun, and here are the results. Jackie X wins with Clay Regazzoni in 2nd, Jean-Pierre Beltois 3rd, 4th Henri Pescarolo, Pedro Rodriguez 5th, 6th is me, which is quite nice. And here we are scrolling down to see everyone else who retired. Only 20 of the 32 starters managed to finish the race, so you know, that's something. But yeah, those were the 1970 cars around the 2001 Hockenheim ring. Once again, it was quite a lot of fun. Thank you once again to Pontigoner Racing. Again, I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but thank you to him or her for suggesting this race. It was quite a lot of fun. I enjoyed every second of it. It was quite fun. A little bit difficult, but hey, for some reason I couldn't keep up with the cars, even though the Lotus should be pretty powerful. Well, at least compared to the other 1970 cars. Anyway, that is it for this video. Don't forget to continue sending in your suggestions. As I always say, the more the merrier. So yeah. But anyway, that is it for this week's Formula 1 Randomized. I'll catch you all in the next week's show, and until then, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care and stay sharp.